Welcome to Sleuthcast with Dr. Bear, Bumpy Bear, and Swiss Bear. Join them in the den for some bear opinions on gaming. And now, our host, Dr. Bear.
Hey, how are you? Welcome to Sleuthcast. I am Doc with my co-host Fumpy.
Hello.
And Swiss.
Yeah.
So, today we are going to be, having a conversation. We're going to talk about real-world events that had and their effects.
Road rules.
Bro, I slurred my words there. It's awesome. But real-life event, I'll say real life. Dude, like the last time, I said two different fucking words smashed together like smashed assholes, dude. It was funny. So yeah, we'll talk real life events and how they've affected the gaming industry or honestly, it could be anything, but more so gaming this time. So I know for me, all mine center around pretty much 9/11 because that was a polarizing time in the world, and old Fumpy here was just a cub, so he not remember so well.
I was a 60-year-old. God, we're all fucking stumbling. Jesus Christ.
No shit, huh?
Hey, don't back me into your crap.
I
If
was
at all.
a 6-year-old little cub there. So, I mean, like, where were you in? I don't know, fucking school maybe? Recess? Fuck.
I can tell you exactly where I was when I found out that it was happening.
Yeah.
For me, this was 7th grade. Our middle school had 3 stories to it. The 7th graders, your lockers were on the bottom and main floor. I was coming from my locker upstairs to go to science class, and one of my friends, her locker was right there at the top of the stairs. And she's like, hey, the World Trade Towers got hit by a plane. I had no idea what the hell they were. So this meant absolutely nothing to me. I was like, oh, cool. Walked into class like, whatever the hell that meant. Only then to spend the rest of the day watching it on TV and saw the second plane hit live on television.
Okay, so like right there, you literally watched live on TV. The entire nation watched people fucking incinerate the instant that airplane hit. That is
people jumping out the damn building before that.
They had a lady. I don't know if Fumpy's seen it, but there's a lady that jumped out that held her skirt down so that she would have some dignity when she hit the fucking ground. That is fucking insane to me. But
Wow.
yeah, no, dude. Like, if you've ever wanted to be like angry at some dumb shit, fucking watch the documentaries on it. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it wasn't handled well.
No, it was bad. But hey, there's evil in the world, and that's why you have these 3 bears. Bro, and I was like, why the fuck would somebody fly a plane into the building, idiot? And then I looked, and I was like, oh, it was a commercial liner. That was definitely not an accident.
Thing for me, too, like, I remember watching the second plane, and, like, half my class was like, oh my god, somebody tell that pilot, like, no, that pilot veered towards it. Like, they know what's going on. Like, you don't accidentally end up at that height. I don't care what's going on.
Yeah, because, mind you, the plane's going to be like,
accidental about being there.
the plane's going to be like, low altitude, pull up. Low altitude, pull up.
Right.
It's yelling at you the entire time, yeah. As far as games go and the effect that it had on them, I could start this one. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. Obviously, it took place in the area of New York, right? It had it's a great game. I enjoyed it. And, not everybody's going to enjoy these games, but it had a really, like, awkward ending. Like, it had, because the shit that they had to cut out. The third act is where you're a Solidus and you're crashing Arsenal gear into Manhattan to destroy it, right? The game came out 2 months after 9/11. And in that, you actually hit the towers, the cut content, Metal Gear, the mech hit the Twin Towers too. Yeah, they cut it. As soon as it happened, they went in and just cut that part out. So that is honestly why that fucking, if you've ever played it, the ending is completely weird as shit. That's why. You're supposed to crash it into, like, Manhattan. And they said, hell no, we ain't fucking with that. The last time America was mad, we know what happened.
Fun fact about Fumpy. I'm stupid. So it kind of just clicked about, like, the topic that we're doing here.
Yeah.
Like, talking about, like, obviously real-life events that affected video games. I was thinking video games that affected real life. Anyways, which we can also get into that. But as soon as you mentioned that, where they cut that or whatever,
Yeah.
that reminded me of a Lilo and Stitch.
Yep.
They cut part of that movie out too, where in the final scenes where Gantu's flying around and Stitch is trying to like get Gantu or some shit to get Lilo. In the background, it was supposed to be a city, or it was a city rather, where they're flying towards the city, and then I forgot when it was released, but then they changed it to the mountains. I think it was like not even a month after they released that.
Yeah,
they rewrote that. I think it's pretty crazy. I mean, like, obviously, if you want your game and or movie to do well, dude, it's a smart fucking call to get that out of there.
it was a very hot topic. It's so weird. Like, I come from a very patriotic family to begin with. I have multiple family members who had served. I thank them. I thank Doc all the time. So that's something kind of ingrained in me. I also grew up around a lot of volunteer firefighters. The whole 9/11 thing was kind of weird, because my family was already like, you know, cops are good, go firefighters, army, yay, you know, that type of thing. Calm down there. Saw you lean back. I don't appreciate it.
I don't like the way you came back at the camera, dog.
But it was really weird because, like, my dad was already like, you know, flags up around the house, America's good, and all of a sudden everybody had a flag. Everybody was hella patriotic, and the music coming out was suddenly super patriotic. And like, did everybody just realize that we were Americans, or what the hell happened? Like, I was confused by that side of it too, from a societal standpoint. It was so weird that people just a couple weeks ago who were like, you know, screw school spirit and who cares about this and this isn't important, were suddenly, you know, decked out in school gear and America this and like
America.
what the hell? Like, 2
America.
weeks ago, America sucked. You know,
Fuck
and it's funny,
yeah.
I feel like we're coming back around to America's not so great all the time.
Yes, and I think that all boils down to we had a common enemy and we don't anymore. Where everybody's at each other's throat, like, which boggles my mind is that we just can't like agree to disagree, bro. You can't make everybody fucking see your point of view. That's not ever gonna work. But again, that's but like, you know, that's one of those things.
I had another 9/11 game.
Yeah.
Well, I have two of them. My first one, though, is Grand Theft Auto 3. The Grand Theft Auto I've played the most is GTA 2. But GTA 3 ended up being delayed 3 weeks. Notable changes to game that were made after 9/11 was the police cars were originally looking like NYPD. And because they didn't want to have you hitting and destroying and fighting
blowing them up,
changed
yeah.
it to
Ooh.
LAPD's regular black and white.
Yeah.
Instead of the blue and white stripe that would resemble NYPD. They also removed elderly pedestrians with walkers. They
10
also
points for the
removed
old guy.
children from the game as pedestrians. They removed school buses so that you couldn't hijack a school bus and run over a bunch of elderly children.
What the fuck? I never would have thought of
they
that,
also
to be
removed
honest with you.
Cheat codes that are not listed. I looked for them and did not really find too many that were solid answers. But there were some cheat codes also removed, and also the ability to blow limbs off non-player characters.
And they never brought it back, honestly, because you can't do that in 4 or 5.
But, like, that's an overall arcing long-term thing
Yeah.
that 9/11 caused, and that's
Yes.
why we're having this conversation
Oh, for
on the
sure.
pod today.
I think that is crazy,
Had it
though.
not happened, it would be interesting to see how much more gore, violence, or otherwise there would actually be in games right now with nothing to have slowed that down.
Call of Duty would be different if when you shot a guy, his fucking arm went flying off. Like, if you hit somebody with a big enough caliber in the arm, their arm's not staying on. I can tell you that. Like the 50 cal sniper, you don't even have to hit somebody to rip their arm off. The velocity of the round. So, like,
Doc's been shot at.
Call of Duty would be fucking insane. Oh, I'm getting sniped and I got no leg. I'm gonna die. I get the arcadiness of it, but like if you were making a hardcore one, realism, a 50 cal from a sniper rifle would rip your fucking limb off. It'd be a crazy game. I have another game that definitely changed from 9/11. Old school Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro, right? It's a 2001 game on PlayStation. Obviously, Spider-Man. It was actually kind of a small title. When I looked this up, I didn't know much about it, but this game was delayed, right? Because it had a reference to the Twin Towers. Because the final level, you were fighting on top of the World Trade Center. And they wanted to change it because they didn't want it to resemble the real building or even look like New York skyline. Like, I get why they did it, but I also don't understand if you're not actually destroying the buildings and you're just there. Consider it a tribute.
No. So, if I remember correctly, your final battle against Electro is him throwing barrels of napalm at you.
Okay, that would make sense.
The
That would
inside
make
of the
sense.
building, lighting
Gotcha.
it on fire, and you have to catch them with your spider web and throw them back at them.
Okay.
That would be why.
That's what I missed. Okay, I was like, if you're just fighting on it, doesn't make sense.
Oh,
But
no,
yeah, no, the napalm,
hand
100%. Yes,
combat
yes.
Between the two of them, they're fucking shit up real hard.
I came into this thinking like how video games affected the real life, not vice versa. So I've been looking up some shit, and yeah, no, I have like a whole article of like top 10 like all this shit or whatever, and it's literally the worst. So my argument is shit because like literally every single instance of, oh yeah, this guy's playing a GTA for years. He loved the game. His parents grounded him, killed the parents, went to a school, shot it up. Like literally, like it's majority of these fucking cases, and they're blaming video games when it's literally just the mental health of these fucking people.
Yes, 100%.
We're sorry you missed it, but just before we started the podcast, I literally went on a small rant that was right up that alley when
Yes.
he brought it up that way.
But yeah, I could see that too, because like, I think ever since 9/11, it's like, okay, and then the violence started picking up. It's like, oh, it's video games. It's not actually, honestly, video games. It's probably the mental health. Because I know for my son, he has, he gets really angry really easily. I think he's being treated by his medical care team, but it's not the video game that upsets him. It's the stuff that's happening while he's playing the video game, if that makes sense. Like the stimuli while you're playing the video game bothering you, it just triggers him. Like me, I don't care, but
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, when I was super into GTA, I had like I'd be driving down the damn road and like I'll have these impulsive thoughts where I'm just like, oh, see that guy on the bike? I can hit him, and just steal his bike. And then like, so I have these thoughts. But, like these people that I'm reading about are like
acting
oh,
it. They just straight
GTA.
up. Yeah.
Like no, like get yourself fucking checked. Like,
and I think that's a big thing for parents. Like you need to pay attention to your children.
yes.
And notice what's triggering them, because if it's not normal things that would trigger a child to be upset, you should probably look into it, dude.
And if you don't, they'll probably fucking kill you. Don't ground the kid.
All the terrorist attacks and all that shit had the actual parents, the dude that shot up Aurora Theater or Sandy Hook, if their parents actually paid the fuck attention, we could have prevented all that loss.
Right. The dude that shot up the theater or whatever, that's the guy who dressed like the Joker, right?
Yes.
Or you want to go see Batman?
Batman movie.
Like, and clearly you can see from the mugshot, and if you read about the case or whatever, he's clearly not right.
Yeah, he's not mentally stable at all.
So, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure there's still arguments where, like, oh, video game causes violence. Like, no, again, look at the people who did it. Look at their track record. Look at all this shit. Like, I've been playing violent video games since I was a fucking child. You don't see me fucking ripping somebody's heart out like Mortal Kombat. Like,
he just throws things at me.
It tried to show you.
Yeah.
You just have to
You have yet to learn.
and I'm just sitting there trying to, like,
up,
fight
down,
somebody.
back,
Yeah,
down.
exactly. I just start crouching, like, up, down, down.
You uppercut him like, why didn't you fly?
Yeah. Get over here. What are you doing? Punches me in the face.
So I have one last one on 9/11, and then I'm gonna go into Sandy Hook since you mentioned it, Doc.
Yeah, I have another 9/11 too.
My last one on 9/11 felt bad for chuckling a little bit because it's not something I had thought about, but made total sense. Around this time, flight simulators on PC are huge because it shows the graphics and what it can do with gravitational formulas and stuff like that. We're just really starting to figure out some physics in video games kind of thing, especially on PC. They had to remove the World Trade Towers and had to remove crash damage, meaning that if the plane crashed, it did not do anything. It didn't cause a flame or any of that. I guess I did not think about the fact that Flight Simulator, they had literally built certain cities into the game. And the idea that, you know, hey, you just watch this on TV, not that you can go plug in a video game and repeat this.
Well,
Yeah, I remember.
If people on that game want to do that, there should be like a prompt or whatever saying, "And you are now banned," or like.
And then you're now on the no-fly list.
Exactly.
I was gonna
put
say,
them on a watch list.
2 days later, the FBI shows up at your door.
Right.
Hey there, fella.
What you simulating there?
Speaking of FBI, I know my last one about 9/11 that I got. Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. At the end of that game, you were supposed to be at the CIA and fighting or whatever, and then Solid and Otacon get arrested at CIA. But, you know, they kind of like fucking hit the Pentagon and shit, so they changed it.
Like, I'm thinking about Modern Warfare 2, the no Russian when they're in the airport.
Yes.
The whole hostage and shit. I'm surprised they didn't like take that out.
Remember when that, Doc, while you're looking it up, so I'm not the biggest Call of Duty fan, but my friends group was huge into Call of Duty. One of my buddies was one of those guys that like, oh dude, I can nuke the map in under 5 minutes, like whatever that meant. He was a hell of a player. When that level happened, I remember multiple of them talking that like, yeah, it happened. I played the level and then I kind of just stopped for a bit. Like in a weird way, it shook them. They didn't even really understand what was happening. Just so much as it like, wow, that was
okay. So it came out in 2009.
So it had been a while.
Yeah.
6 years.
So a little breathable time.
But yeah, like I said, I remember when that happened.
And I have an answer as to why they didn't take it out. Because when you went through the security checkpoints in that game, that's literally like an airport. Like they added all the security. It was to show that airport security was beefed up, and the only way to get through is guns blazing. I guess. Really? That's developer ideas, but
no
yeah.
No one asked for.
Yeah.
And this bizarre level where you kill all of our passengers was brought to you by American Airlines.
We lost your baggage, so you die.
We lost your baggage, but we keep you alive.
Yeah. All right,
you mentioned Sandy Hook, the school shooting, and I'm a Subnautica fan. And I actually didn't question it because I was late to Subnautica. You can't actually fire like a harmful firearm in the game. Even the torpedoes aren't necessarily direct damage explosive style. Nothing really is. The closest thing you have is the knife. And it really doesn't do much. It also doesn't reward you for killing most animals in the game. Other than smaller fish that you can eat, killing the leviathans and stuff does nothing for you. I was surprised then when I was stuck on a spot and I decided to look the game up a bit when the guy I was watching mentioned that the reason there are no guns was the Sandy Hooks. And checked it out, and sure enough, the developers, while they were making the game, the Sandy Hook shooting happened, and they made the decision pretty much right then and there that, like, no, you're the prey in this game. I don't want you to just start killing all the things you're supposed to be running from or afraid of that make it challenging. And they decided to not have guns, so early on when you get the survival knife, the AI actually tells you that ever since this incident on some other planet, this massacre, a survival knife is the only weapon that has been allowed, and it's literally them making a direct reference to Sandy Hook that, you know, because of this, we faked this massacre on Braxis Prime, and that's why the knife is the only thing you get as a weapon, as a survival tool. They don't explain anything into it, they just simply state it, and that's why you only get the knife.
I got a list of what the ass nugget that fucking shot up that school played, and it's literally Dance Dance Revolution. He played Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty and Battlefield is what they found in his basement, but they actually did the investigation. This dude played DDR 10 hours a fucking day.
You gotta get jacked, dude.
No shit. He played Phantasy Star Online, Paper Mario, Luigi's Mansion, Pikmin, basically any popular, decent game he would play. That goes to show you that if you're fucked in the head, like, playing a violent video game ain't gonna fucking trigger you. It's your fucking brain.
I would say Sword Art Online's about the most adult of those games.
No shit. Pikmin, your little fucking dudes trying to find your way through the forest, man.
Strategy game.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Now think about it, though. Strategy, you gotta lead all the things to one area.
Might
Bro.
end up on a watch list because I'm researching video games with school shootings. like I want to know like what games actually like push these limits, I guess.
Not too many.
No, not too many.
I know Hogwarts Legacy, you were supposed to be able to Avada Kedavra people in the hallways, and they pulled it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were talking about that, and then people were outraged that you could do that in the school, and no longer there. You couldn't even hit them with spells.
Like the only like violent game that I can even come close to finding that had violence in school is Lollipop Chainsaw, which is pretty much a zombie game and you're trying to rescue your classmates.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. It's violence in the school, but it's directed at an enemy, not at a child or whatever, yeah.
Even the series from Rockstar, the game's Bully. You're not the actual bully, technically.
You're trying to stop them.
Yeah, like, it's not what you would think it would be.
I know there's another one that I had. It was Fallout 3. When you could blow up Megaton. In the game, obviously the launcher is named Fat Man, right? Fat Man was the bomb they dropped on Hiroshima. So, yeah, they definitely changed up things. Because it was supposed to be... It looked a lot like Nagasaki, is from my understanding what I was reading. It looked like a Japanese city. So they were like, ew.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I understand.
Yeah, and that's what I was reading. I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
The white dude in the giant tower of the other town over blows up Little Chinatown. Yeah, this is New Japan. That's a terrible idea.
But as patriotic as you guys are, what is a good timeline or like how much time can pass before like obviously not a simulator where it's like it's called 9/11 simulator. No, like for stuff to get implemented into video games again. Like
okay, now hear me out. You said the 9/11 simulator. Think about this: if somebody were to make a game where it's 9/11, but you're just one guy on a plane and you had to stop it, it was cut between planes, where you had to stop the tragedy from happening. You think they would allow that to be published, or do you think they would put the nix on that shit so fucking fast?
Oh no, they would stop it 100%.
I know, but my point is if you're stopping it,
wrong. I disagree with both.
You think they would let it go?
No. They would hire them for the military, have them continue to develop the software, use it as a VR form as a way to train soldiers and other people in these situations.
And you're not wrong, and they pay you like
They're already doing it with multiple things. They've been doing that with video games for quite some time.
When I was in, we had virtual rifle ranges. And
right.
That was...
So tell me that being able to turn this into a different situation and scenario where you could literally have a person holding an Oculus and walk themselves through different negotiation tactics and scenarios and stuff like that, police training and other things of that nature, hostage situations, I mean, all of that. Different things that you can do, things that you would have implemented, things that you may even possibly be training your stewardess and other people on the airline for. I mean, come on.
Right.
Come on.
Like, even with like the Hiroshima or even World War II, like if there's an entire video game reenacting World War II where you have to like kill Hitler or some shit like that, like I feel like between now and World War II, I think would be a good time where they could release that and it would be semi-acceptable. Know what I mean?
Okay, so we didn't have video games back during World War II, but what you did have were comic books. And do you realize, like, the comment in Iron Man of, like, I've knocked Hitler out however many times. Like, yeah, no, dude, those were legit comics. They were graphically showing superheroes going in and just
beating the shit out of Hitler. Yeah.
Destroying the whole army. And, like, it was graphic. It showed things. It didn't hide blood. There weren't rules behind that stuff at the time. On top of that, when Vietnam was happening, just to not trying to giving you a history lesson, nothing more here. On top of that, Vietnam is one of the first wars where they allowed live cameras behind enemy lines, where they literally had cameras rolling 24/7 live with different troops and infantries while they were actually doing their things. Meaning actual gunfights where they were dropping napalm and other shit and hitting the wrong people and all of that were being televised live. So, no, when it comes to war, there really is no such thing as a timeline for
Yeah.
that. While the war is going on, we'll make video games about that. Your Call of Duty franchise is directly from the war that is happening at the time that it is being made. They are capitalizing off those same premises that are happening in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Were from the beginning of their own franchise.
Truth.
When it comes to war is profitable no matter who you are.
War never changes.
Terrorist events are slightly different. Most people weren't making games about, we made games about World War II and stuff, but mostly they don't touch Pearl Harbor. Unless, of course, it's you saving Pearl Harbor. But most of them don't want to actually show the horror that was Pearl Harbor. Or if they do, it's a quick cutscene just to get something going. 9/11, not something you're really going to put out there to the public because it's seen differently.
Yeah, because of innocence.
As where war, no,
Yeah.
man, people, this is what it is. Like,
Good answer, honestly.
But to go back to what I was saying in Swiss, I 100% agree with Swiss that they would use it for the military. I'm sure they have, and that's probably why we haven't seen it. But if there was none of this, like, oh, we're gonna buy this up so you guys can't release it, I don't think it would be perceived very well. I think people are like, oh, it's an offensive game, and then other people are like, what? Why is it offensive? Like, one of those polarizing games where it's like middle ground. People fucking hate the middle ground. They want you to pick a side.
so to piggyback on that thought, something I'd like to point out as a trend specifically from video games, the bigger a deal you make about how violent it is, the naturally more it sells because now I need to see it.
Truth.
Like Pandora's box. Like, you can't tell me about the berries that are in the other room and me not want to go check out the berries in the other room.
Wait,
For
we
most
got
people,
berries?
There are some of us that are, don't have a problem with that. But Mortal Kombat, I swear to God, probably 50% of all Mortal Kombat's original sales and coin earnings on their arcade cabinets were simply the amount of time. I know the only reason I ever bothered to play it was this. Nobody would shut up about it. Oh my God, it's got blood. My parents talked about it. It was on the news. It was on this. It was on that. Kids at school were talking about it. Like, dude, I had to see what Mortal Kombat was. So anytime you make a giant deal about a game like that, inevitably you actually draw more attention to it.
Like they say, no press is bad press. I mean, I don't know how true that would be, but in this instance, it's for sure true.
So the final instance I have is not video game related. It's television, actually.
All right.
And this one hits kind of near, or didn't hit near and dear. This one I realized and knew. I'm a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan. In their third season, they had an episode called Earshot. In the episode, your main character, Buffy, gets infected by blood from a demon that allows her to hear other people's thoughts. And somewhere throughout the episode, she hears that, I'm going to kill them all while she's at school. So the whole episode is Buffy trying not to go insane from hearing everybody else's thoughts and figure out who this killer is. And she ends up trapping one of the students that you see multiple times. He's a lovable loser throughout the series here up to this point. His name's Jonathan, and he's just kind of crapped on by everybody.
Yep.
He's a bit of a nerdy kid. And he is up in, there's a bell tower on the school. He's literally up in the bell tower with a high-powered rifle, hunting rifle with a scope. And she has this whole big conversation that, everybody's hurting and all this other stuff. And, he gives him the gun, and she's like, see, so glad you didn't shoot up the whole school. And instead, he's like, actually, I was up here to kill myself. You find out at the end of the episode that it's actually the lunch lady. She's poisoning the Jello and trying to kill the students that way. But they originally, this episode was supposed to be early in the season, but Columbine happened.
And honestly,
So
if you didn't know
until
Columbine,
later in the season because they couldn't justify, literally the week this episode was supposed to drop for them, Columbine happened. Well, they moved this out later in the season and stuff, but I can remember this episode, first time I saw it, being like, ooh, that one was a little true to life and close to home there.
yeah.
Damn.
Columbine was the first instance of a school shooting that I can remember.
Yep.
Before that, you just beat each other up outside of school. You fucking like grown, like, responsible people. You got beef, take it outside school.
And like as a Buffy fan, the other thing that was notable was this is one of the first and few times where the bad guy wasn't a monster. This wasn't some demon she had to kill because they're evil. She was walking through school and somebody just, by this time tomorrow, I'm gonna kill them all. Like, holy shit. And they whispered like that, almost word for word that line, like it's something very similar to that, but literally stating that, I'm going to kill them or they'll all be dead, something along that line. And it was very like, holy crap, like, this isn't Monster of the Week. There's a person in the school that wants to hurt all the kids.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Coming from a town where their mayor turned into a giant snake who tried to eat them all.
Snake Mayor.
Mayor Wilkins is good. Solid character.
He's a bit slippery, though.
Just a tad bit.
All right.
Also a germaphobe, but that's so. We'd just like to say, all of us here at SXZBear, we struggle with depression and stuff on our own, and we're dealing with our own life stuff, and like, just want everybody to know, like, there's help out there. Reach out, speak out. It's easier now than it ever has been. People care. You don't have to go through the world alone here, and you don't have to do it dark and angry. There's enough of that crap going on. It doesn't need to be you. Reach out. People genuinely want to help. I know it may not seem like it, but trust me, they do. We can only help you if you're willing to help yourself.
From Doc, Fumpy, and Swiss, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Sleuthcast. Catch the Bears every Friday. For more bear entertainment, follow the Bears on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and on YouTube at SXZBear. For gaming content and live streams, catch the Bears on YouTube at SXZBear. Thank you for listening.